In terms of the founder, which qualities are you looking at in an entrepreneur? Yeah, no, what could get your heart?
I would say experience as an entrepreneur. You want an entrepreneur that has experience as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah, so first-time entrepreneurs don't have a chance.
Well, they do, but if they are a serial entrepreneur, it's better because we know they have gone through, they have done it before. They know what to expect. They know how hard it is. They have, if they had a successful exit, it's a plus. So
it's a probability assessment, basically. Is a probability assessment if they can make a success again, if they've already done, or if they can survive the journey.
The roller coaster.
Let's be honest.
If they can survive, of course. If they have the strength, the mental strength, the conviction, the vision. But it's not only about that. Because I've seen also some kind of arrogant entrepreneurs who just sell the big vision and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. But most of them are not experienced entrepreneurs. These are going to be first-time founders who have this big vision, and sometimes disillusion. And on the other side of the table, we're like, maybe you should be a little bit more humble because reality is different. Because maybe what you're thinking is not the right way to go, just take it step by step. So that's why investing in someone who has that experience in entrepreneurship is valuable because they're more grounded.
Yeah, and they're up for their job. Let's say they've been through a real life MBA.
Exactly.
Okay.
And of course, an entrepreneur that has an existing network of clients, of potential investors, of good advisors. That's a plus, especially of clients. If they have industry expertise and a network in the industry that they are operating in.
So you're looking for somebody to do a fintech startup, for somebody who has a career in fintech, etc., etc. So it should be logical and not just
somebody who understands the industry and has an existing network in the industry. Yeah, so they can reach out to them and actually sell the solution they're building. If you don't have an existing network in an industry, it's super hard to get into a new space and convince people to get the first meeting with you. If you don't have, I would even say, if you don't have at least 5 people you can sell to, maybe it's not the right thing to do for you. It's going to be super hard. Or surround yourself, then you have to surround yourself with people who have that network, but it adds another layer of complexity.
So you would probably, an entrepreneur who doesn't have the network would have to hire based on the network people have and multiply by that. So basically, we are already hiring the marketing base and buying it with the person that comes in. Okay, sounds good. And in terms of business model and financials or traction things, what pain pointers, what are you looking for? Which companies will definitely not meet the cut of your...
I can tell you straightforward. Okay. Those who are building something and then trying to sell it. It should be the other way around. You don't build something that you want to, and then you try to look for the clients. I see that, and this is a big red flag. No, you first even sell something that doesn't exist yet, and then you build it for them, and you tell them in 6 months it's going to be available. Maybe in 1 year it's going to be available, or at least you get some pre-commitments, or you get some letter of intent, or a contract in place that they will buy. This is what a letter of intent is. It's a contract that says when this is in place, then when this is available, I am interested in buying the solution from you once it's available. So if a company is trying to build something and raise money to build that, or raise money to sell that, the question that I ask and other investors from my network ask, it's okay, so what's the traction? Great, you built the technology, but to be honest, anybody with a tech team can build it.
Can you build the sales?
Harder. Selling is actually harder than building. Than building. And you should be selling while building, and building while selling.
Is it while or before? Should you be selling before you're building?
If you can, in some cases you can do that. So try as soon as possible.
Okay.
Now, what are some people are going to think about, because I had this case this morning talking to a startup, and the discussion, because I gave them the same example, discussion was, yeah, but you know, this is like, this is manual. When are we going to scale? But of course, you do the manual things. Your client doesn't need to know that you're working on an Excel spreadsheet. Your client doesn't need to know that it's you doing the matchmaking. Your client is interested in getting a problem solved. The way you do it doesn't matter. It's the solution, what you deliver, that matters. So do that while making money and while building your solution based on the client's feedback and client's requests.
But by making money, do you mean they have to be making profits or making revenue? No.
I would say revenue, that basically they're selling. They started to sell. They started to test their pricing strategies. They started to put themselves out there and be challenged by the clients when they're having a sales pitch.
So they're having a fight with the real world.
Exactly.
Exactly. The traction is the word that means they are having the traction with the reality. Exactly. Okay. Sounds good. And in terms of industries and niches, is there anything that you're particularly interested in now, or what's trending, let's say? Is there a trend like that? And is there a no good list that also is not working, is something you will not attract into your portfolio in any case in the next 5 years?
I had lately a company, so it was female led. So it was like, yeah, let's go, let's get this pitch deck. I was very excited about her company. But I didn't do research, so I just asked. She contacted me on LinkedIn. So I just said, okay, send me your pitch deck. And then I had to look at the pitch deck. And this is a marketplace for hunters. So personally, I'm not going to fund anything like that. Okay? So I politely get back to her saying, this is not an industry I understand. So of course, when it's an industry I don't understand, I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Plus, I'm not in favor of killing animals, so I'm sorry. And it's a bit too bad because she wasted her time, she wasted my time. If she just looked a little bit at the companies I have invested in, she would see that I have nothing to do with this kind of opportunities, if we can say. I would advise entrepreneurs to do their research on investors before they reach out, to maximize their time, to maximize,
and honestly, to be polite, to be polite and not to waste the time ahead of time, or probably if she, for example, had a doubt, she would reach out and say, okay, I'm in this industry. Is that something you're looking for? And even with a couple lines of text, you could understand if it's a match or not. So my follow-up question on that would be, how should startups, what should they do to meet investors? Should they just reach out on LinkedIn?
So before going to that question, I want to answer the previous one. What I'm looking for, and I would say maybe unfortunately most of investors are like that. So we're going to be looking for B2B, okay, B2B companies, SaaS, because margins are higher with SaaS companies, because it's easier to scale, because the costs are quite stable over time. So SaaS, B2B, B2C is not something attractive to me and to many investors. I'm not going to generalize, but so I'm going to just speak on my behalf.
But
B2C,
why
because
is that?
It's hard. Because it's hard to sell to individuals.
So
and you make less money with individuals than you can make with corporates.
Okay, so there is a higher fail rate, you would say?
It just requires more marketing. Selling to corporates maybe takes more time, but you can sell higher prices.
And there is the check, and if you have a good contract, it secures some sort of revenue.
That, yeah.
So
B2B, SaaS, global from day one, a company that can be global from day one. Impact, ideally. It has an impact angle. It does some good in the world. And a strong team. And traction as well. Wait list, a huge wait list. A validation from the market, pilot customers, other investors, good investors that have invested in them. Something that proves that you're going in the right direction.
What is a big wait list for you?
A big wait, it's a good question. Because the example I have in mind is a company that I'm invested in indirectly that had 1,000 people on her wait list.
Okay.
So they went to BI, the university, got students to work for them for free for 4 to 5 months. And these students were just going around showing the design of the app and getting people to say, yes, I'm interested in this. Yes, please let me know when you are launching. And she had 1,000 on her list, and she had the design. And then she went to investors and saying, okay, guys, I have 1,000 people waiting for this. And I have the design of what they're looking for, what I'm going to build. So are we now going to do this together? And of course, it doesn't have to be 1,000, but it has to be significant enough. And it's a tough question, I know, because a lot of startups get that from investors and from VCs who say, oh, come back when you have more clients. So then ask them what it means exactly, like you're doing. Ask them, not just, okay, we'll come back later. No, what do they want to see? What kind of traction do they want? It depends from a company to another as well. We can't ask 1,000 potential clients to a B2B company. No, we're going to maybe ask, okay, 12 pilot customers.
Totally makes sense. Okay, and the follow-up question, or the second question, if you're done with the niches, so just to follow up on that, you said this B2B, it's SaaS, and that's it. B2C is not something you're looking for.
There are always exceptions, of course.
Yeah. But general mood is like that.
Unfortunately, okay. B2B, SaaS sell better. Investors are more interested in that.
And what would you say, what kind of hints would you give to our listeners? How should they meet an investor? What is the investor dating script nowadays? What are the best ways to do that?
So first, reach out to local investors. Do not reach out to investors who are outside your time zone, unless they have invested in similar companies like yours, unless they are experienced investors and so on. Like, I get pitch decks from companies from all around the world, and I'm not the only one. We don't have the capacity to go through all the pitch decks. We're just humans. So we're going to get back to those who are from our region, because it's also reassuring. We can work with them. We know them. We have friends in common. We have a network that we share. It's easier for us to understand them and to support them and to work with them and to trust them, more importantly. So reach out to people, to angels who are in your city, in your country, then you start expanding. Reach out to investors who invest regularly, who had an exit lately. It means that they have some cash available. Use platforms such as, crowdfunding platforms, Folk Invest. Well, I would say this is another strategy, of course, right? But if you do equity crowdfunding, that's one way to raise money as well. You can also reach out, like Startup Matcher, for example, is a platform, and you can get access to investors. You can find investors on such a platform. The other way, you can go through accelerators and incubators, of course. Always try to find the most relevant ones for you. If you are in, depending on your stage and your industry, for example, if you are a fintech, proptech, retail, you would go, I'm speaking here just for Norway, you would go to The Factory. If you are A little bit later stage, I would say seed, but even sometimes pre-seed, and you're a SaaS company, you can go to Startup Lab, apply to be part of their accelerator. They will give you access to their network of investors. So find communities, find networks, and get also people to introduce you. Get in touch with these hyper connectors, such as myself, who can connect you to others.
Okay, so some sort of a connection broker, I call it, as a person who can open a lot of doors.
Somebody who has a strong network and has been in the space for a long time.
Okay, makes sense. But is it a critical thing for you if a startup has been to an accelerator or incubator or not? Is it a good sign for you or not?
It depends on the accelerator. Some are good accelerators, some others are like
a bad mark. Some of them
it depends really on the this is the challenge with accelerators, that it doesn't, anyone who starts an accelerator can just put whatever in it in the program. And this is how you have some great accelerators. There is no protocol in acceleration, and you have some accelerators that will just start because they want to, because they're publicly funded or whatever. And then when it comes to the content, you're like, well, how is this really helping entrepreneurs? What is it really doing? What's the agenda behind it? Is it branding for the accelerator itself, or is it really helping the entrepreneurs? So being part of an accelerator doesn't give you more credibility. It depends on the accelerator.
Okay, makes sense. And in the first agenda that we had initially, we were supposed to talk a little bit more about the pitch and the pitch deck and the way to get attention and the basic, let's say, we started talking about the due diligence that you go through when you're assessing a startup. But what are the do's and don'ts, basic do's and don'ts in the pitch deck? For example, would you prefer to get in your LinkedIn inbox a short screencast, a video, or is it okay just to have the slides because maybe, I don't know, you're spending time with your family and you just want to browse through it and you're not.
Yeah, I don't like videos because I'm like, okay, 3 minutes. When is it going to be really interesting for me? Within these 3 minutes, a pitch deck is great because I can just look straight away for the right information for what I'm looking for. Definitely, I will look at the problem. I need to understand the problem. I need to feel that it's a valid problem. I will look at the solution. Is it easy to understand? Is it some solution? I will look at the team for sure. And again, you look at everything in a pitch deck, but these are the elements that I will pay attention to, and the traction again. Of course, you look at the business model, the customer segment, the pricing. Maybe you look at the valuation as well. Some investors will not go in if the valuation is too high. An early stage company that has a high valuation, depending on where they are, it might slow their, it might not allow them to raise money easily the next round. In Norway, you would have, for example, at a pre-seed, seed, it depends again, but like in average 20 million, between 10 to 30, 40, if they have pilot customers and so on. I've seen some at 90 million. We can still say, okay, depending on the technology, if there is an IP behind it and so on. But if I see a pre-seed at 300 million, it raises some questions. Why 300 million? And also, if they're staying here in the Nordics, what's next? Usually VCs would be the next step after the seed round. VCs who would accept such a higher valuation than this, it's more challenging to convince them as well. So sometimes it's good to start low and be a little bit reasonable, depending on where you're based.
Okay. But you said that you're looking mostly for global from day one companies. Yeah. So Are there any companies in your portfolio that are just location centered or Norwegian first? No, you're not doing it.
Of course, everybody starts with Norway first. I mean, those that are based in Norway, or most of them. However, there should be the possibility to scale abroad quickly. If it's a SaaS, if it's a software as a service, for example. And many companies I'm working with right now, they have been global from day one. Meaning that they started here, but they have a client in Kenya, or they have a client in Southeast Asia. So
okay, makes sense. And do you often or do you have an initial investment strategy? For example, the investment funds usually have a 6-year horizon during which they estimated, they made the market research, and they know that they're going to go into these 3 industries, and they know what their portfolio should look like, and they're trying to generate the deals which fit into their initial investment strategy. Is there something similar that you have as a private angel, or not, or you just go with the flow and see where it takes you?
I mean, sometimes I'm always open to exceptions. However, as I mentioned, it has to be, it's B2B companies, it's local headquarters in Oslo, so I can work with them. And of course, the horizon is between 5 to 10 years.
Okay, and how do you as an angel investor work with the company? Do you consult them in marketing or in their numbers? Where do you come in?
So it depends on the company. If they need my help,
so all of them get your help, or is it a necessary part of the deal? I mean, it's not obligatory.
No. It really depends on the company. Some are getting their angels involved and will ask us to meet every 4 months. Instead of sending us an email with the KPIs and the updates, they will have us in a meeting, and then we advise them during that meeting. And some others, they will just call me, and they become friends. And they just call me and say, "Oh, Raya, this is what's happening. What do you think?" Or I just text them something. It really depends from a company to another. And those who are really scaling and doing well, I mean, I don't have any active role. I don't get involved in something that is already doing well. I stay away. If they're doing well, I stay away.
I'm waiting for return. I'm just
I'm just sitting. I actually work with the majority of my clients are companies that I haven't invested in because they're earlier stage. They're not there yet. So I help them get investor ready. I help them have in place the traction that investors want to see. I help them have in place the strategy that investors want to see. And then I invest in them, or I connect them to other investors.
Okay.
And there are other companies that I invest in directly.
Totally makes sense. And in terms of industries, you said that B2B and SaaS, but is there any fields like fintech or
fintech is attractive. Fintech is attractive, definitely, but I would say I'm completely industry agnostic.
Okay. You could take on anything you want as long as it doesn't
harm the planet.
Your values, like hunters platforms, or
even
something
you understand. Even if I had this discussion with my husband. I told him I just said no to a hunting marketplace. He's like, but come on, this is like, it's about creating a balance within the ecosystem. And I said, no, but without me, I'm not going to do that.
It's just your personal values are not the ones that want to sponsor it, let's say.
And I think we have a responsibility as investors to make sure the money we give or we invest is used in the right way, if we can say, because we have this power that we share with others to empower others. It's creating today I have a flu, so I'm not. My English is not 100% there.
It's good.
we have an impact. We have an impact. We have to be careful with the money that with our power that we share.
Exactly.
Empower
I
others.
understand what you're saying. We have responsibility.
Exactly, we have responsibility.
We want to bring more into the world.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly.
Makes sense.
It's not just about getting a multiplier effect, because of course investors are interested in their in a return on investment, on having a 10x, 100x. You know, we do that. We invest in entrepreneurs because we enjoy being part of their journey. We enjoy sharing knowledge, opening our network, but we also want the return on investment. And for some investors, a 5x is not a success. Wow. 10x starts to be a success. So do
you have your personal demand on that? Do you have your personal acts?
No, you can't really. You hope when you invest in them, it's because you believe that they are going to hopefully match your expectations, but you cannot start pressuring. You already trust the founder. Once you invest, it's because you trust them. The money you give doesn't give you more power, control over them. You should not, because they should be. You invest in the founder to let them be, to let them create that project that they pitched you. It's not to come and try to make them work for you. Founders would not like that. Founders are rebels. It's not going to work.
It's they're adults and they are probably being entrepreneurs because one of their values is freedom.
Exactly.
And, you cannot take that away from them and be a controlling teacher.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Totally makes sense. I know we're short on time, and I'm very happy to talk to you here today. Was exciting. I think we get along as a house on fire. I learned a lot from you and your experience. Thanks a lot for being with us. I hope we can do something else together, maybe on a different topic, or maybe work with some of the startup if you want to showcase them. Would be happy to connect more.
So I will just sum up. If startups want to reach out to me, they can reach out to me in 2 cases. Because I don't want my inbox to explode. It's already overwhelming me. So if they are raising money, please contact me. If you are in the Nordics, if you are in Europe, if you have traction, if you are into the B2B space, if it's a SaaS, so that's one thing. Or if you need help to raise money from investors, probably you need some advice on how to improve your business, your pitch deck, and overall strategy. So I can help there as a advisor and coach.
Beautiful. Totally makes sense. Thanks, Raya, for being so generous and straightforward, open-minded. We're looking forward to working more with you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your journey.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're gonna wrap up. Enjoy your family time. Good luck with that, and I hope to talk to you soon.
We speak soon. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.